of the actual stone. All right, and these are the last two lines. All right, now I want to draw your attention to the Mesha Stele again, the Moabite stone. And what I did was I highlighted this part here because this is the actual stone. And in this highlighted section here, you have the name Yahweh. Okay, so I want you to focus on that because that's the Most High's name. And then there's other names in here within the actual part of the stone that that mentions Israel and all of that, you know. Now, when you go to the actual chart of the kings of Israel, you had Omri, which is one of the kings that was mentioned in the Mesha Stele or Moabite stone. He reigned from 885 BC to about 874 BC for about 12 years. All right. And then when you go into the king's list of the Moabites, beginning with Moab, all the way down, you have the Dibonite dynasty, which we mentioned as we read the translation of that Dibon was a dynasty of these particular kings, and Mesha the Great, which is the king that was spoken of in the Mesha Stele, which is named after the actual king or the Moabite stone because he was the king of Moab. The Mesha the Great was ruler in Moab from 870 to 840 BC. Okay, and then as you see here, this is an actual map of ancient Israel. And then what do you see on the other side of the Jordan, which the so-called scholars call it Transjordan, which means across Jordan. You had Edom, and you had Ammon, and some of the tribes of Israel, and then you have Moab, and that's where they were at. So Mesha the Great ruled in that area from 870 to 840 BC. All right. So now we're going to get into some scriptures. This is 1 Kings 16 and 15, just to show you that this particular king was mentioned in the Bible. Now, this is 1 Kings 16:15. In the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, did Zimri reign 7 days in Tirzah. And the people were encamped against Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines, because we had a lot of wars with those Philistines, those Hamites, which were Mizraim, okay, which were so-called Egyptians. And the people that were encamped heard say, Zimri hath conspired, and hath also slain the king. Wherefore all Israel made Omri, which in the Hebrew is Imarya, as you see here, Imarya, which we read his name in the Mesha Stele, or the Moabite stone. So it says, wherefore all Israel made Omri the captain of the host, which he was the actual king over the nation of, not the nation, but over the kingdom of Israel. Because you had, the kingdom was split. You had the kingdom of Judah, which was the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And then you had the northern kingdom, which is the kingdom of Israel, or the kingdom of Ephraim, which consisted of the rest of the tribes. And Omri, which was one of the kings in Israel. So it says, wherefore all Israel made Omri the captain of the host, king over Israel that day in the camp. And Omri went up from Gibbethon, and all Israel with him, and they besieged Tirzah. And it came to pass, when Zimri saw that the city was taken, that he went into the palace of the king's house, and burnt the king's house over him with fire, and died. For his sins, which he sinned in doing evil in the sight of the Lord, in walking in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin which he did to make Israel to sin. So basically, I brought out this scripture here just to show you that Omri was the actual king in Israel, which the Mesha Stele mentioned. Now, 2 Kings 1 and 1. Now, keep in mind, like I said, the Moabites were subjected or put under subjection under King David, because prior to that, we were in captivity under the Moabites. We had wars with the Moabites. King Eglon of Moab had us in captivity at one time. You know, I believe it was for about 18 years until the Lord raised up a judge to deliver us from under the hand of Eglon, which was Ehud the Benjaminite. All right. So 2 Kings 1 and 1, it says, then Moab rebelled against Israel, and after the death of Ahab, because prior to this, during the reign of Ahab, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me just check real quick. Right, he was a son of Omri. Yep. So there was, the Moabites were in subjection. That's why they mentioned the name Omri. So Ahab was ruling at that time, and then when Ahab died, then the Moabites rebelled. But prior to that, they were paying him tribute. And then it says here, this is 2 Kings 3:1. Now Jehoram, which was another king in Israel, the son of Ahab, which he reigned after Ahab, began to reign over Israel and Samaria the 18th year of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, and reigned 12 years. And he wrought evil in the sight of the Lord, but not like his father and like his mother, for he put away the image of Baal that his father had made. Nevertheless, he cleaved unto the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, which made Israel to sin. He departed not therefrom. Verse 4. And Mesha, king of Moab, was a sheep master, and rendered unto the king of Israel, which was Ahab, 100,000 lambs, and 100,000 rams with the wool. But it came to pass, when Ahab was dead, that the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Israel. And this is who the Mesha Stele, or the Moabite stone, is named after. You know, all right, after King Mesha of Moab. So he rebelled once Ahab was dead. So this Mesha Stele, or Moabite stone, was his story, or of his conquest, or of his victory over Israel. All right. So it says, and King Jehoram went out of Samaria at the same time and numbered all Israel. And then when you read on down, he was gathering the different kings to fight against Moab, because they had rebelled against Israel. Now this is Jeremiah 48:16. Now this is what's going to take place, and this is a judgment upon the Moabites for what they did to the children of Israel. Jeremiah 48:16. The calamity of Moab is near to come, and his affliction hastens fast. All ye that are about him bemoan him, and all ye that know his name say, how is the strong staff broken, and the beautiful rod? Thou daughter that dost inhabit Dibon. Now remember, you had the Dibonite dynasty, right, which Mesha was part of, in the land of Dibon. And then you had here, I am Mesha, son of Chemosh, Yati, the king of Moab, the Dibonite. So this was the actual Dibonite dynasty. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. So it says, all right. So it says, thou daughter that does inhabit Dibon, which is Moab, come down from thy glory and sit in thirst. For the spoiler of Moab shall come upon thee, and he shall destroy thy strongholds. And then the Babylonians, the Assyrians took them down, but then eventually the Babylonians destroyed them. But in process of time, we're going to get revenge back on these Moabites, these so-called Chinese. O inhabitant of Aroer, stand by the way and espy. Ask him that fleeth, and her that escapeth, and say, what is done? Moab is confounded, for it is broken down. Howl and cry, tell ye it in Arnon, that Moab is spoiled. And judgment is come upon the plain country, upon Holon, and upon Jahasah, and upon Mephaath, and upon Dibon. Remember, the Dibonite dynasty. And upon Nebo, and upon Beth Diblathaim. And the land of Dibon was included in that also. So it says, Jeremiah 48:25, the horn of Moab is cut off, and his arm is broken, saith the Lord. Make ye him drunken, for he magnified himself against the Lord. Moab also shall wallow in his vomit, and he also shall be in derision. For was not Israel a derision unto thee? And what time was that? There's a few times when it happened during the time of Eglon, king of Moab, that had Israel in derision, but during this time too, because this Moabite king did damage to Israel at that time because of all the things that Israel had done to them. So it says, for was not Israel a derision unto thee? Was he found among thieves? For since thou spakest of him, thou skippest for joy. And they did skip for joy. And they were glad when we were brought down low, and they were glad when they brought us down low. O ye that dwell in Moab, leave the cities and dwell in the rock, and be like the dove that maketh her nest in the sides of the holes mouth, because they're going to get messed up. These so-called Chinese Moabites, they're going to get jacked up. This is Zephaniah 2:8. This will be the last scripture. I have heard the reproach of Moab and the revilings of the children of Ammon, whereby they have reproached my people and magnified themselves against their border, because they took down certain of our strongholds. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, or the power of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah, because their cities were going to be destroyed. That's why the Moabites and the Ammonites, they're not in that land of Ammon and Moab anymore, because their cities were destroyed and they were pushed out. Even the breeding of nettles and salt pits and a perpetual desolation, the residue of my people shall spoil them, and that time is coming. And the remnant of my people shall possess them, and that's what we're coming to. That's why when you read the book of Numbers, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th chapter, especially the 24th chapter, it tells you about what's going to happen to these Moabites in the latter days. This shall they have for their pride, because they have reproached and magnified themselves against the people of the Lord of hosts. So when this guy, the Lord will be terrible unto them, for he will famish all the gods of the earth, and men shall worship him, every one from his place, even all the isles of the heathen. So when this Moabite king wrote this stone commemorating his victory, really he put a curse on himself, not just by writing this, by putting his hands on us, and then this is just a commemoration or a witness against him, and then you have, like I said, you have the names of the king, you have the name of Israel all throughout the Mesha Stele, you have the name of the Most High, in the Paleo Hebrew, name of Israel, Yah, Shar, Allah, name of Israel in the Paleo Hebrew, so there's no getting around that, So with that, this has been archaeological proof of the Bible, and I hope you brothers learned something. Until the next time, I say shalom.